Hello, fellow readers. Welcome to my YouTube channel where the star is the book. Today, I call upon you, fellow readers, to help resurrect an unjustly forgotten author. I'm talking of the great Richard Brautigan. Senior in its effort, so the wind won't blow it all away. So, first of all, let me point out, I cannot believe that this author has hardly been translated into Portuguese. I believe there's only one book of him which has been translated into Portuguese, and even that, it's long out of print. So what can I tell you about Richard Brautigan? He was involved in the Beat movement. He became a voice for the counterculture in America of the 1960s until gradually fell out of favor with history and with readers. He subsequently killed himself in 1984 at the tender age of 49. His final company was a bottle of alcohol. So I thought to myself, what an amazing character to have over for tea. Imagine, right, reading a book written by him. And I was not wrong. His originality just blew me away. We have in this book a tender, ironic, and bittersweet account of his childhood, with the words and the thought process of kids themselves. I was never really fond of kids as narrators in literary fiction. I've always think that most authors tend to present kids as really adults in disguise, but not Richard Brautigan. A small example of that on page 5. We were on welfare, and welfare was not designed to provide a child with any pride in its existence. When I got a new pair of tennis shoes, my outlook on life immediately changed. I was a new person and proud to walk on the earth again, and thanked God in my prayers for helping me get a new pair of tennis shoes. And the Brautigan keeps oscillating between his childhood, senior in the book, and between the adult age where he's writing the book in a very funny and believable, in a very original way that oscillation is presented. Senior on page 10. She padlocked at the door with a very ancient and fragile lock. The lock was only a symbol of privacy and protection, but that meant something in those days. If that lock were around today, a thief would just walk up to it and blow it off with his breath. There is a defining event in the life of the character. The fact that he accidentally kills a friend. You'll probably be wondering, why did this dude just gave that away? Sorry, to me, technically, it isn't a spoiler if it's described on the first paragraph. This shooting, according to Wikipedia, was loosely based on an episode of the real life of Brautigan, where he accidentally blew a piece of ear off from a friend. I've always wondered what it would be like to live with trauma. I've always thought as the equivalent of having to share a very small beach with a great white shark or a Nile crocodile. But I believe that the best image is the biblical image of the wife of Lot. If you remember your Bible right, God instructed Lot and his wife not to look back on Sodom when it was being the target of divine wrath. But Lot's wife, her curiosity was stronger than God's instruction, and she did, in fact, sneak back to Sodom. And the moment she did that, she was immediately transformed into a pillar of salt. And I've always thought that trauma is like that. When something like that magnitude occurs in your life, immediately something is crystallized in your past, in your present, and in your future. You know things will never be the same again. And in every day you'll have to confront that statue, that inner statue of of regret, of sorrow, of pain. And trauma, I've always thought that it crushes you from both sides. It crushes you from the traumatic event in itself and the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost being the event that you could have adopted that would have prevented the trauma. Brautigan describes that wonderfully in this book in the shape of a hamburger, as you can see here in this beautiful cover. Instead of buying the bullets that accidentally killed his friend, he could have had an hamburger. He talks about that on page 59. Yep, everything would have been different if Superman would have told me to get a hamburger. Instead, I walked across the street to the gun shop and bought a box of .22 caliber shells. The hamburger had lost. I have replayed that day over and over again in my mind, like the editing of a movie where I am the producer, the director, the editor, the scriptwriter, actors, music, and everything. I have a gigantic motion picture studio in my mind where I have been working constantly on this movie since February 17, 1948. I have been working on the same movie for 31 years. I believe that this is a record. I don't think I'll ever finish it. And he keeps referring to hamburgers. You can sense that he's trying to delay the confrontation, the personal confrontation with the trauma, and in a sense trying to rewrite history in his own mind. Page 65, if that were possible, that rewriting of history. I'm only interested in everything that I can find out about hamburgers. Somehow I believe that only a complete knowledge of hamburgers can save my soul. If I had gotten a hamburger that February day instead of bullets, everything would have been different. So I must find out all I can about hamburgers. And the punchline being on page 73. I looked for hamburger references in the Bible. I was certain that there must be an overlooked reference to a burger in the book of Revelations. Maybe the four horsemen of the apocalypse liked hamburgers. To sum up, it's a very funny, a very ironic, a very touching book about childhood, about trauma, about the present, about the past. And that's about it. Hope to see you again for our next video. Until then, please read on. It's like having the great Lord of Letters celebrating a happy pact with you every time you pick up a book. See ya!